Hi friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today is kind of an overdue video I wanted to do about a month ago, and bought a new 4 terabyte external hard drive for my 1X, and was excited about putting all my, finally don't have to delete Xbox One games, install other Xbox One games, because the 1 terabyte doesn't cut it nowadays, so as many of you know. And I've had really good luck with my 4 terabyte external hard drive from Seagate for the PlayStation 4 Pro. I still have some space left. I'm approaching the end of it, I think, finally. But, it's a great unit, and I haven't had any problems since 2015 with my other one. Well, anyway, I installed a ton of games, and then all of a sudden went to turn it on to film this video about 4 weeks ago, I'm not sure, and it just died. It just wouldn't come on. I turned it on and said I only had like 97 games, and I had over 200, and I'm like, what the hell happened? And I looked, and where it showed the 2 drives in the settings menu, the second drive was just non-existent, just like it just vanished. I tried everything, could not get it to work, and I couldn't feel it coming on, so it just died apparently. So, and I never really used it. I don't think I gained more than maybe 2 hours on the thing, although maybe installing all that, many games on it might have been too much for it. I have no idea. I'm not a tech person. So to me, it's unacceptable. When you buy something, spend $130 for something, it should work. I bought a new truck, it works. I'm not having any problems with it. I doubt I'll have problems with it a year from now. I've had a lot of brand new cars, and I've only had one. My very first car in 1985, the first week the computer completely went out. You couldn't even get them then because the car was a brand new model. So they actually had to take the computer module out of a brand new one on the lot and put it in mine to get it going, because I raised all unholy hell over it. But aside from that one vehicle, I've never had a car that within a year or even a couple years had something break where I had to take it back under warranty. It just doesn't happen to me anyway. Now my friend Solid Rev seems like every console, every new TV he buys and has shipped to his house breaks. I told him to get a Samsung TV. He got a pretty decent, like an average quality one, but a good size one a few years back when I used to be on Twitter. And with the first day or so, it broke. Half the screen was all fucked up on it, and I've never seen anyone with worse luck. I almost wonder if he has a shipping guy that just has it out for him that breaks everything, because every new console he's bought, he seems like he's had a problem with it, with few exceptions. But supposedly it happens. My friend Cameron of Industrial Gamer said he just had 2 PC hard drives that went out and he had to replace them. So I guess it does happen. To me, it's unacceptable. Just like the Red Ring of Death was on the Xbox 360. 2 out of 3 failures is not good. That's really bad, and you really need to refund people or recall those consoles and make it right, and then give everyone a new console. And I just wait for it to break, and then it's like a time bomb. So that's why I would never have one of those pre-2009 Xbox 360s for that reason. But anyway, instead of doing a big rant on how much I hate modern gaming, which I could easily do, and I didn't want to get into a big negative thing, because I know gaming has moved on. Most of us are, this is the new thing. It's the modern gaming. Now, I don't have a Series X or a PS5, but I'm happy with the PS4 Pro. I've got hundreds, literally over 200 games for the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I've got a couple dozen Xbox One games. The rest of them, I went through and I found every single Xbox and Xbox 360 backwards compatible game that was listed as being able to run on the Xbox One X. I went ahead and got them all out, piles of them, and I mean big piles, everywhere. And it took me like over 3 weeks to install them all. So when I came in and saw that hard drive gone, it represented 3 weeks of like non-stop. You can't be watching a movie. You have to like literally sit here and watch and wait and just exchange and put the next one in, hit the button, install it, do the update on it, make sure you got all the DLC for that game, which I've got quite a few bits and pieces of DLC. So even though for those old Xbox 360 games, it even lets you download all the DLC you bought, 10 years ago or 9 years ago, whatever, which I think is pretty cool. apparently the Series X, believe it or not, is even worse with backwards compatibility. They raved, oh, all your games will run better and look better. It's a lie. It's absolutely not true, with the exception of a few enhanced games, and not many. But most of them don't run better. In fact, they seem to run even better on the One X. And you don't have the entire backwards compatible list that was available on the One X is no longer available on the Series S or X, because they have some licensing issues. So now, but if you have them in the One X, you're good. You can keep playing those games, but for whatever reason, they couldn't pass that license on to the next 9th gen console. So this is really the optimal way to play backwards compatible games, you know. So these are things I'm learning quickly, and I don't know much about the Xbox One or the One X, but I'm trying to learn, and I would be interested in a Series X, but I hate this always online thing. This one, at least you can play it offline. As long as it's updated every once in a while, you're fine. To me, that's acceptable. I don't like the always online. It's a real, and I was all hot to get a Series X until I heard that. You know, it's a huge disappointment. Now, what you can do with this is you can install, or you can download all of these, you know, emulated versions. So even though you have the original game, you know, like I've got the Army of Two here, which I was just about to play. Now, as long as you have the disc, it's like a key. You put the disc into the console, you install, you know, the new update or the new downloaded version from Microsoft, and now you've got an emulated version, and by and large, they do look and play better. I mean, Red Dead Redemption plays in 4K. It looks incredible. That was one of the first ones I downloaded and checked out. But again, it's one of the few enhanced ones. This one looks and plays fine, but you have to have the disc. So if you, or unless you bought it digitally. If you bought it digitally, you don't need the disc. You can play it now, or, you know, on the next gen console, it remembers your buying history and you can play them. Many of these I still can play on the Xbox 360, as I did download many digital games on that. The ones that were backwards compatible were able to be carried on. So I've got a total of 45 digital games that I have between the Xbox One and the 360 that I have, and even a couple like Black for the original Xbox. I had a few I bought at SSX3. There was a handful, maybe 2, 3, 4 original Xbox games that I did buy, you know, in a digital format for the 360. But anyway, so once you have the emulated versions, then you're all good. You can play them and play the newer versions. On the original Xbox games, it stores your save data inside the hard drive of the Xbox One or One X. But if you play an Xbox 360 game, it has to be connected to the cloud. The only way you can save your progress is through that damn cloud. So again, I'm not thrilled about this. I give Microsoft a pass because they compensated by doubling down on backwards compatibility. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, there's not that many games. Dude, I got over 200 games here to play. I mean, that would last you a lifetime. And yeah, it would have been nice if they had Dirt 2 instead of Dirt 3. I mean, there's a few games where I scratch my head. I mean, I have, you know, they let you play. I mean, this is a great game, but the Army of Two, the 40th Day, is also maybe even a better game. And I even like the Cartel one, the third one, is fantastic. But yet those aren't available for whatever reason. But you know, you got to be happy with what you have. There's quite like all 4 of the Fear games, including the Fear Files, Fear 1, 2, and 3, and the Fear Files expansion. You can all play. They were all backwards compatible. They added a lot of good games. Dead to Rights, you can play. Now that one actually is enhanced. It looks, and even in widescreen, it looks amazing. So this is a great deal. Anyway, I'll quickly get through here and show you what I've got in here. So just last night, finally, I installed, my wife took her to the airport Thursday. When I got home from work, I started installing on Thursday night, 9 hours. I had 9 hours of installs. Just with the games I had left. I already had most of them installed. Then another 5 hours last night. Finally, I finished the very last game, which actually was the fourth Fear 1, 2, and 3 in the Fear Files, were the last 4 games that I inserted and installed in here. But here you can see the Xbox One Enhanced. I got 212 games installed. Now I had more, a couple more, but actually they were like multiple versions of the same thing. Like I have Lost Planet 1, 2, and 3. But Lost Planet 2, there's an extreme condition. I don't forget what they call it, something condition. You can play the vanilla version or the extra version. So I had both of those. I mean, I just put the better versions, cut out the vanilla one. So I actually stripped it down to by 2 games. I had 214. But these are just, you know, the games that that I have that I would play, that I gladly would play. Now, I had Call of the Sea I recently bought digitally. That's a great game. I'm anxious to get into that. I've got Crackdown 3 and other ones here. Here's Armed and Dangerous from the original Xbox. Dead to Rights, a great game. I have Dead to Rights 1, 2, and Retribution on the 360. Fantastic games. Destroy All Humans. One's here. I think 2 is down into the regular games, but they only enhance the first one for whatever reason. Morrowind is a nice. Forgotten City I just recently bought. That one, I think I have a physical version of that game. It's a fantastic game, by the way. Really highly rated. Incredible writing. Really good narrative story in it. You got Forza Horizon 3. Now, this was just within days was about to be delisted. I wasn't going to look on eBay and try to get a physical copy. I said, with my luck, by the time it gets here, it'll be too late. So I said, fuck it. Bought the digital version. I'll probably buy the physical copy anyway, just to have the case, you know. I mean, it's pointless, really. And I bought all the DLC, the Hot Wheel thing, you know, the Arctic Mountain deal, you know, all of it. Full Scrotum Warrior I've got from the original Xbox. Mercenaries Playground of Destruction, another one. I'm glad that that one's enhanced. That's a really cool game, as is the Warrior one. MX Unleashed, another great game. I've played the hell out of that back on the original Xbox, and I haven't tried it on here yet. You know, I got the new Prey. Was a wonderful gift from my friend Vinny in Idaho Falls. Quantum Break was like $5 with all the DLC. It was a hell of a deal. And I said, you know, I would like to buy that one physically, but for now, for $5, they've got killer deals. I'll tell you, on the PlayStation Store sale as well as the Xbox Marketplace, killer deals. Wait for stuff to go on sale and you can go apeshit. Red Faction 2 is on here. Sadly, the second one is a PlayStation game only, so I don't think it's in here. I don't think it's available in here. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be because it's not Xbox. The Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, that's a great one. Battlefront 2, you know, exceptional game. Why Battlefront 1 isn't on here, I don't know. Jedi Knight Academy is enhanced. Why they don't have, frankly, the better game, Outcast, I think should have been enhanced, but it's not. But whatever, it's, you know, it is what it is. But at least it's available now. They did add that one finally to the Xbox compatible backwards list. Star Wars Jet Fighter, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, both of the KOTOR games are here. There's the first one, there's the second one. Republic Commando, one of the better Star Wars games, a really good squad-based tactical shooter. I'm so happy to have it. In fact, I recently got the strategy guide for that and quite a few, and the KOTOR games, both of them. State of Decay 2, I actually bought this and they put State of Decay 1 in the box. I didn't realize it until I went to install it. And I go, wait, it says I already have this game. Why did I ejected the disc? And oh, no wonder. So they took it back. GameStop, you know, ordered me a new one. No problem. So I've got that. And it's got the, when you buy it and install, you automatically get the upgraded Juggernaut edition with all the DLC and enhancements, which are quite a few. Titan Quest, I think that was a good friend Jeremy donated that one to me. Titanfall 2, also from my friend Vinny, recently opened at Christmas. I'm dying to play the campaign on that. Finally, we got a campaign we can play offline, thank God. From the first one, I think it was more multiplayer centric. We got a couple Splinter Cell games here from the original Xbox. Why the third one isn't in there in the Xbox, I have no idea, but it's down there, it's just not enhanced. And then you've got 2 here for the 360 that are enhanced, which is good. They're both great games. Blacklist and Double Agent's really good. In fact, I have the guides for all of those. Here we go, the Xbox One games. I've showed a bunch of these before. You know, my pickups videos of Black Sad one's pretty cool. Dead Rising 3, that's one of the few left I need to get a guide for. Desperados 3, Need to get the DLC for that. It's a great game. I really had fun. It's tough though. You got to kind of trial and error it and go through it multiple times till you get an outcome that's satisfactory. But it's a great game and highly desirable. Empire of Sin is a John Romero who'd worked on Doom, for id. Fantastic game. This is one he developed while in Ireland. And I'm really interested in playing this. I think there's DLC for this as well. It's kind of a top-down little RTS, kind of like an XCOM or, those kind of games. Fallout Shelter is kind of like a phone game, basically, that they ported over. I think that was free, frankly. Flying Tigers, I downloaded it. It's an Xbox One exclusive or on PC, but a really good, surprisingly good World War II flying game. It's only as an exclusive on the Xbox. Very, very cool game. I love the graphics in it. It's a good game. Forza Horizon 2. I wish I had kept the box for my Xbox 360 one. Now they're worth megabucks because they were short print runs. I had one and I was like, well, here I got the digital code. Don't need it now, so trade it in for something else without realizing it. Forza 6 is really, for me, the last good motorsport that you can play it offline. And it's not as drivatar-centric as the ones after it. It's really the last good one, in my opinion. Gears of War, the Ultimate Edition. This is the completely remastered one. You better believe I've got this in there. And I went ahead and bought the physical version. I had for the PlayStation 4. I had I had the all digital, which I bought day one for the definitive edition of GTA. The original trilogy, GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. I've only played the third one on the Xbox, but man, the graphics look good. And now with the new update, now we get taillights finally. I just tried it the other night. The taillights are all on instead of just the brake lights, which drove me nuts. Most of the little quirks and issues people had didn't really bother me. But driving at night with no taillights, and when you hit the brakes, all of a sudden they come on and really illuminate, I thought was nuts. But they fixed everything now. Every little minutia of issues they had with that game. They did like a bunch of patches right up front, then waited a month or two, and then had a big one, and it's got everything to finish it. Now they are perfect. It's a shame they didn't get it right off the gate that way, but it is what it is. Modern gaming for you. Savage Planet looks good. Mad Max, I get another maybe 16 to 18 hours in it. Replaying it again for the 6th time, and I still have never finished the game. I've never gotten past maybe 60% of the main story. I'm almost afraid to invest hundreds of hours just to be disappointed again. So again, we won't get it. That's my favorite 8th gen game, and yet it let me down. My second favorite was Firewatch, which, some people don't like. Solid Rev hates it. It's a walking sim to him. But I could relate with the character very well, and I understood the game and what it was going after, and I think it's one of the most perfect indie games I've ever played. I should have got one of those limited run the physical games for it, which are now big bucks. But anyway, it is what it is. At least I have a digital version of my PlayStation 4 Pro. Again, a game that I loved. And at the last level, the beginning of the final level, my wife made dinner. I paused it or shut it off. I went to come back on, and my save file was corrupted. And I lost everything. So I had to watch the last level on YouTube, which was very anticlimactic. And it still is my second favorite game. So here are the 2 favorite games for the 8th gen. I wasn't even allowed to finish. That's modern gaming for you. It's like, you like it, Dean? Fuck you. You're not going to get it. You're not going to play it. The other games that no one cares about, I can play through them with no problems. But God forbid, it's something I really like. I'm going to get fucked on it one way or another. Monopoly Plus, it was a cheap game. I like Monopoly, and I was good at it. Observer, this is the remastered version, a very cool game. Rare Replay was a gift from my friend Steve, who donated this Xbox One X. It was used, but it was in really good condition. Great games, got tons of games that were able to be downloaded in the original Xbox or 360, whatever. Rise Son of Rome, another gem. Sleeping Dogs was a digital version I had to have. I already have the physical, definitive edition for the PlayStation 4 Pro, but like GTA, this is one that I wanted as a go-to game just in case I wanted it, because I wanted to see the enhancements and how good it looks on the One X. State of Decay, the first one, very cool. I'm anxious to play this real soon. Sadly, there's no strategy guides for them, but that's fine. Sunset Overdrive, I don't know that I will play this one, but it was a nice gift, so I thought I'd install it. I bought Turok 1, I'm going to buy the Turok 2 soon. They're the old, you know, and maybe N64 games, I believe, or they're on PC, and they remastered them for the Xbox One, which is fantastic. They might even be on the Series X. And the Walking Dead, you know, Definitive Edition, they kind of redid them. In some ways they look better, and in some ways they look worse than the originals, but I have the old ones in here too, which is the beauty of it. Anyway, now getting into the good stuff. Xbox 360 and 360 games. Ace Combat 6, Aegis Wing was like a free game. Alan Wake, I already have the Definitive Edition, but it's nice to have the original one. American Nightmare, I bought the expansion pack DLC just to have it. It's a standalone game that I have digitally. Aliens vs. Predator, a classic. Army of Two, which I'm going to be playing real soon. Here's a bunch of those rare replay games. Battlefield 2 is one of the only ones I haven't played. Backwards compatible. Battlefield 3 was like an hour and 20 minutes to install. An hour and 20-something minutes to install. A lot of these games take 20, 30 minutes, an hour, 45 minutes to install. So, I mean, you're looking at hours and hours, weeks and weeks of installs. And we have the best high-speed 5G internet. This motherfucker, when it installs something, it crashes our internet. You can't stream fucking my jazz station. God forbid, my wife's out in her treadmill trying to watch her favorite Netflix show on her phone while she's working out. And if I'm installing a game, I hear her. She'll open the door and I hear the garage door slam. Are you installing games again? I go, yes, sweetie. All right, I'll shut it off, you know. And I got to stop it. So this is why I'm getting like 1-2 games a day installed. So when she finally left, thank God, I can install. So I stayed up all night. I was so tired, you know. It's just where I needed to go to work exhausted, but it is what it is. Bad Company 2 and 1 and 2. Why they put Bad Company 2 ahead of Bad Company 1, who knows, but that's Microsoft and their wisdom. Battle Station Specific and Midway, two highly underrated games. I'm so happy they've got games like this that are backwards compatible. Binary Domain. Black I've had for years digitally for the 360. Of course, I even have the original Xbox version, but that one I bought digitally, but I've got the disc I could put it in too, but I won't need the disc for that one. Blazing Angels, a great series from the original Xbox and on the 360. Brothers in Arms, Hell's Highway. Unfortunately, the other two aren't here, but that's okay. Bully, Scholarship Edition. Most of the Rockstar games appear to be here. The Bureau Declassified. Thank God that we've got that one. I'm really happy with the XCOM games available here, the other ones and this one. This is my favorite of them, by the way, and I think the others are brilliant, but this one is my favorite because you're really down on the ground and you're there, you know, and you're seeing it through the perspective of your guys close up. Burnout Paradise Revenge and Burnout Paradise and Burnout Revenge. Now I have the remastered Paradise. I technically didn't have to install this one, but it's just nice to have it here anyway. I've got all three of the Command and Conquer games. Kane's Wrath. Where's the other ones? The other ones are here somewhere. Where are they? They were here. I don't know. That's weird. Oh, here they are. Here's the other one. Command and Conquer 3. Oh, and then Red Alert's way down here. Okay. So again, they jump them. You know, they jump all over the place. They don't do the alphabetical order thing too correctly. Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and you've got the other ones here, Modern Warfare 2 way over here, and then 3 way down here. Then World at War, and then Black Ops 1 and 2. So you've got the good array of your COD games. You want to really have a good time with a campaign that you can play like in an evening or 2 evening stops. Those are a blast. Call of Juarez Gunslinger, sadly, is digital only, one of my favorite digital games. And I have it installed in my 360 and in here because, I mean, eventually when the servers go down, hopefully I can still play that game offline. Call of Juarez Bound in Blood, I think is a fantastic game. The Cartel is one of my top 10 favorite Xbox 360 games, although it received god-awful reviews for political correctness, frankly. Conan, I just saw a great retro video from Joe's reviews. little guy. In fact, I'll leave a link to his channel below. He does fantastic retro reviews and on modern stuff too. I really love the guy a lot. I wish I could support him with Patreon because I really think that he's got a good channel. He only has like 2 Patreon supporters, but for a little guy that takes his time and does it, he puts together a really good review with great details. He did a whole retrospective on the all of the Dead to Rights games, which is really enjoyable. And then right afterwards, that G-Man Lives, like a week later, did his, which I found was interesting after the other guy did his first. But Commando Origins, it doesn't have the second one, but thank God the first one's here. I have the guides now for the first and second one. Crackdown, I love that game. That's a digital game. I got the physical version in here as well. Crimson Skies I've had on multiple systems. It's a fantastic game. Really a great standalone. Reason to own an Xbox, original Xbox. Crisis, digital version that I've got 2 and 3 on disc. Dante's Inferno is a game that I'm really excited about playing, and I've just ordered the strategy guide for that. It'll be here soon. I've got a huge box. You think my last batch of strategy guides, this one's even bigger. And a couple more games included in this one, and a few surprises Jeremy has for me. So it'll be my last big box, unfortunately, but with the economy being what it is, I can't keep doing collecting. I got to cut back. This was, I had $1,000 that was a special bonus, sign-on bonus for my job. And because it was above and beyond and totally unexpected and over and above my normal paychecks, I told my wife, I'm earmarking this just for my collection. And I used it pretty much the whole grand just for strategy guides because they're going up in price. And if I don't get them now, I'm not going to pay $5,000 for them later. So better to get them now where I know I can get them cheap. Sadly, they're so heavy, the shipping costs quite a bit, but $70, $100, something like that. But it is what it is. Dark Void, a highly underrated gem. The Darkness 1 and 2, great games. Deadfall Adventure, I've never played. I bought it when the day it came out, but I'm anxious to try it. I've got the Deus Ex Human Revolutions. I think this is one where you can play the vanilla version or the extended version. I've got the augmented edition, whatever that is. I think it comes with an extra art book and some stuff. Dirt 3, why that one and not the first 2 that I think are far better, I don't know, but thank God I got that. Plus I got a lot of DLC for it. Doom 1, I thought I had Doom 2, but I do have Doom 3 BFG edition. That's a digital game that I bought, I believe. Driver San Francisco, a huge disappointment as I'm a huge fan of the series, but it is what it is. I've got a great travel coffee mug I still have from pre-ordering it actually, which is better than the game itself. Duke Nukem Manhattan Project, again, one of my top 3 favorite digital games. I would be devastated if I lost that. I have Call of Duty Classic, Duke Nukem Manhattan Project, and Call of Juarez Gunslinger are 3 absolute must-have digital games. My God, you got to get them. They're all very good and extremely playable. Earth Defense Force, Duke Nukem Forever, I don't want to forget that, nor the, I've got the DLC for that too, the Doc That Cloned Me or whatever, really good. Lots of topless chicks and, you know, dildos, and I mean, it's a lot of sophomoric humor, but still, I think it's a great game and very fun, and certainly wouldn't be made today, that's for damn sure. Earth Defense Force, 2025, there's a couple others I'd like to get, but this one is backwards compatible. Enslaved, Odyssey for the West, a great game. Escape, Dead Island. I've never played this one. I've always been intrigued with it. Kind of a comic book, cel-shaded style, but I think it's a pretty cool game. That the Fear games, which are fantastic. These were the last ones that I installed. The first Fear. Fear 2 is amazing. Really good graphics. I think it's probably the best of the 3. I think there's a $10 expansion of 4 levels for like $9.99 that I need to get, so I added that to my cart. That'll be one of the next downloads that I'll do to get that way I'll have it, you know, so if something happens down the road, hopefully I'll maintain that DLC. Fear 3, good gore effects, a really unusual game, kind of a departure from the other ones. You can actually play as 2 of these, the 2 good and evil characters, which I think is pretty interesting. The Fear Files, which I've never played, it's an expansion pack series. I'm so happy that all 4 of those are backwards compatible, as these next ones are. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I mean, I would have the backwards compatible system alone just to play those two games. I mean, it's that good. Here we get Far Cry Classic, the very first one that was on PC. I bought digitally for the 360. Far Cry 3, I have the physical version. I pre-ordered from day one. That was my very first game review in 2012, was Far Cry 3, actually. A little embarrassing looking back on it. I was a little bit younger and my hair wasn't gray back then, but my health was certainly far better. I was 50 back then, now I'm 59, so wow, my channel's been here 9 years. It's amazing. Long time. Predator Instincts, which is basically the two older Predators on the original Xbox, enhanced for the 360, kind of like the HD collection, which is very cool that you can play those. Far Cry 2, a must. Blood Dragon, and again, I was having the first night it downloaded, I downloaded another game I just thought was perfect, but not for Dean. After a couple hours, the game crashed, I lost all my progress, I refused to start the game over. I said, fuck that game. So I have it digitally. One of these days I'll get the Far Cry collection, which has like Far Cry 2, 3, and Blood Dragon in it. But I'll have to play it one of these days and get that. It obviously needed that day one update, you know. So this is why I think it's important to get the updates come on these games. Forza Horizon, the first one, I think still today is by far the best. I don't think the other one's going to light a candle to the first one. For the story, the racing I think is better. Yeah, it's 30 frames a second, but it's really smooth and it's very fun, very playable. And I got the highest achievements on that. Of course, I didn't do any of the online ones, otherwise it would have been an even higher achievement score. So I don't like the achievements and trophies, because a lot of them are tied to multiplayer, and if you don't do multiplayer, you're fucked. So I boycott them all. I'm not an achievement and trophy person anymore. I used to be, and not anymore. Not because of that, I just think it's outrageous. Galaga, one of my favorite console games. I played on the old, going to the arcades and going to a pizza place, whatever, that was my game of choice to play. Gears of War 2, 3, Judgment, and then I have, under the enhanced games, I have that, the remastered Gears of War 1. Ghostbusters, the game, which I've got on the PlayStation 4, remastered as well. Grand Theft Auto 4, I absolutely must play on the Xbox 360. As well as the 3 games from the Liberty City stories, where you got the Gay Tony missions and the other Lost and the Damned. In fact, that's the only strategy guide for GT I'm missing, is the one for that. So I didn't completely forgot about it, so I need to get that one guide. I've got them for all the other ones now, including Liberty City stories and Vice City stories. I got them coming soon. San Andreas, this was the remastered one back in maybe 2009 or so. It's not bad. It's not near as good as the definitive edition, but it was your early attempt at trying to remaster it. It looks good overall. Grid 2 is really a great game. Grid Autosport's also very good. I've never played any of the Halos except Halo 2, but I said they look like my kind of game, so I have Halo 3, ODST, Halo 4, and Halo. I think I might be missing one of them, I think. You can let me know if I'm wrong, but I think I'm missing one Halo game. That was on the 360 anyway. Harm's Way, it's a little game that had on Xbox Live Arcade years ago. Hitman HD Pack, Hitman 1 and 2, and then Hitman Blood Money, and then the Hitman Absolution, which is one of my very first reviews. I love that game. It's so good. To me, I love the game. I think it's Hitman perfected, because there's many ways you can play. You can play it the old school way or new ways, and it's got a hell of a story and some really cool set piece moments that I think are outstanding. Hurricane Thunder, one of my favorite Xbox Live Arcade games. I'm so happy to have this in here. I'm Alive looked really good the day it came out. I remember seeing in development, like a year before this game came out, it was promising to be like The Last of Us, or that kind of an epic, story and game. It's not bad. It kind of fell short. I think there's some technical issues. Maybe it got rushed. I'm not sure, but I still think it's a great game. And again, this is a digital-only game. This is one you should get while you still can, because this game will be lost forever once they, unplug these servers. God forbid. I'm hoping that this Xbox One X will be a fucking doorstop or a brick when they take the servers off. I don't know. Maybe I can still play it offline. I don't know. I'm nervous, The Series X, no. Once they unplug that, once they go on to something else, that thing will be as dead as a doornail. So, I don't know. I'm still on the fence on that one. This is one of my favorite Xbox games and one of my favorite PlayStation 2 games. But the PlayStation 2 pales in comparison to the crisp Xbox version of Indiana Jones: The Emperor's Tomb. I was just talking with my good friend Steve Tyler of Tylord's channel on YouTube. I follow him. He has a lot of great pickups, and he's the one I donated my old analog Sony Trinitron with surround sound to. And he's been playing that game, and he's been rage quitting, and he's getting very frustrated. And then I gave him another game, Laura's Croft and Angel of Darkness. I had 2 copies in my senile state of mind. I've bought in like 4 games I already had all 4 I just bought recently that I literally couldn't remember buying, and 3 strategy guides. So I clearly need help. My mind is slipping, sadly, and there's a medical reason for that, which I'll get into in another video. I've got a lot of health issues, which have just been, since I moved here, I love it here so much, but I've been very challenged with health issues. COVID is still kicking my ass. I have no vitamin D, a severe depletion of vitamin D, iron, magnesium. I'm on 7,000 milligrams a day via my doctor, vitamin D. I'm outside a lot. You can see I'm tan now. From working outdoors, I'm getting a lot of natural vitamin D, but the COVID just it fucked my kidneys. Now I've got permanent kidney damage from COVID. I've got all these other issues, and who knows if I'm ever going to be right again. My breathing is much better, but it's not as what it was. My voice box is gone. My voice is shot. I sound like I'm smoking 5 packs a day now, thanks to COVID. So, people that want to think that COVID's just made up and is not real, well, if it's a flu, dude, it's one hell of a flu, because it really fucked me. 5 months out of work it cost me. A lot of, like 15 grand worth of work I lost. I'm really frustrated over that, but whatever. And again, another rare replay. Jurassic Park the game, get it while you still can. Very expensive, one of the early Telltale games. Not the best one, but I really like it. If you love the film, you got to get it. Just Cause 1 I've never played, but I was thrilled that it was backwards compatible, so I bought it and added it in here. Just Cause 2 I have put probably 100 plus hours in. A fantastic game, one of my absolute favorites on the 360. Another rare replay game. Kane Lynch Dog Days 2. I love this game. It's like a Michael Mann game. Why they don't have the first Kane Lynch game, I don't know. Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light. Kind of a strange little top-down kind of a game, but very cool. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, you can play them both offline, and believe it or not, you can play them single player. My nephew comes into town, we play these 2 split screen a lot. This is like our go-to games, and a couple of the Call of Duty World at War 2 for split screen. Here's Lost Planet 1. Now I could have had the vanilla version and this version just to pad it and give a couple more, but it's not worth it. That's the better version, Extreme Edition. I've got Lost Planet 2, which is kind of a co-op game, but you can play it single player. And Lost Planet 3, which is the last one, sadly, but it looks really good, really good. I had that for the PlayStation 3 initially, and then eventually I got it for the Xbox 360. Mafia 2, it's good to have it, Plus I got the enhanced edition on the PlayStation 4 Pro. Manhunt, man, does it look and play. You can really tell they've upgraded Max Payne 1 and 2 and Manhunt quite a bit. Manhunt and Max Payne 3, this for Solid Rev and I was Christmas early. That they announced finally it's backwards compatible. I mean, it's such a good game. This is one of the best games I have ever played in my life. I like the original nostalgia of Max Payne 1 and 2, don't get me wrong, but 3 was for me was a quantum leap. With gore, violence, and physics that to this day are unrivaled. There's a lot of violent games that none of them have the good, realistic physics of Max Payne 3. Really, Solid Rev and I can talk for 90 minutes just on Max Payne 3 alone. Medal of Honor Airborne, a good game, fairly easy for the most part, but as you get near the last few levels, it gets tougher than a cheap steak on a date. I'll tell you, it is just unbelievably tough. I'm stuck on the last level. I've started it like 20-something times, and I finally just said, fuck this thing, and shut it off. I need to go back to it. I want to finish it. I just need to come from a different perspective. What's great is you can parachute in any place you want and start the game from any angle or location you want, which is very unique and cool at that time. Midnight Edition is a complete edition of Midnight Club, one of the best Rockstar Midnight Club games. Thank God it's in here. Midway Arcade Classics, a gem. This was a seal game that I couldn't rip the seal off fast enough. Mirror's Edge for my good friend Cameron of Industrial Gamer. Gave it to me years ago. I cherish it. One of his favorite games. He holds a record for speedrunning that game, I believe. Oddworld, I don't know if it's Muntz or Munch's Odyssey. I love the Oddworld games. The animations are just fantastic. There's a new one, I believe, on the Xbox One, I think. I should check into getting it. Pac-Man, I had to have that one. A couple of more rare replays, Perfect Dark, Zero and Perfect Dark. Prey, the 2006 one. This was the one I saw early footage for a sequel to this that looked like the Blade Runner. It was mind-blowing. Instead, we got the other one from the people that did the Dishonored games. It looks good. A lot of people rave about it. I'm not crazy about the little shadowy enemy types or whatever, but I mean, it looks good. I'll have to try it. I don't want to judge it without trying it. Pure is a really good quad game. I didn't think I would like it. I'm more into dirt bikes and quads, but it's very, very addictive. Rage, I have this and the DLC. One of my favorite top 10 360 games. Highly underrated. To me, is an absolute masterpiece from id Software. Virtually hundreds of unique death animations and injury animations. You shoot him in the shoulder, he grabs his shoulder, and he's like limping coming at you still. It's beautifully done. People really don't appreciate what's gone into that game. Red Dead Redemption, this is one of the few that was enhanced. You can play it at 4K or whatever, it's fantastic. I didn't like the Undead Nightmare, I refused to play. It's too cartoony. It took away from what made this so gritty and realistic to me. Red Dead Revolver is actually my favorite of the three of them. I haven't played the new one, although I have it. In fact, the guide for this cost me over $76 for the strategy guide for this. Plus the shipping that I had to pay to ship it here on top of that. So it's probably $80 to get that game here. It's coming soon. I had to have the guide. The guide is extremely rare now and like megabucks, of course. It's well over $100. I found one cheap for $76 and it literally is like mint condition. Red Dead Armageddon. This one I haven't played. I have the other digital one that I had for the PS4. It looks good. I like the first three Red Factions. These ones I haven't really played, the newer ones. Ridge Racer 6, this is really good. In fact, I downloaded tons of free cars. They had like dozens of free cars, hours to download them all. Table tennis, highly underrated. I love ping pong. I was exceptional at it. One of the best top 2 ping pong players in my high school in 1980 or 79. A great game, very realistic. This is where they were testing the Rage engine, Euphoria engine, whatever it was that they had, that Rockstar was developing, which later was used for GTA 4. Secret Weapons over Normandy. Steven Spielberg, I think, had a hand in this. A fantastic game. Skate 3, my favorite of the 3 Skate games. Outrageous, a great game, really fun. This one I had to buy digitally. It was like $5 digitally. I had to have it. Sniper Elite V2. I have some of the DLC. I'm missing one DLC pack, but that's okay. I have the Silver Star edition, but it only let me download the vanilla one so it's not letting me have my DLC, which should be included, but whatever. Spec Ops The Line, what can I say? A masterpiece, another top 10 Xbox 360 game. Split Second, highly underrated, very fun, very fluid, very high speed, really hectic. SSX, this is a reboot. It's pretty good. I had some difficulty with it initially getting into it compared to like the SSX Tricky and 3 and the old ones, which I was more familiar with. And here's 3. I had to have the digital version. So in here you can play it in widescreen and in ways that you couldn't play it on the original Xbox, which I think is very cool. The first Battlefront, Star Wars Episode 3, another highly underrated game. A lot of people don't like it, but I like it. My favorite Star Wars game of all time, Jedi fucking Outcast. I finally have the strategy guide for that now too. I'm so thrilled to have that and Academy. Star Wars Starfighter Special Edition, very good. Clone Wars I've never played. I want to play that one. Star Wars Force Unleashed, I played the first one, but not the second. I need to get the Sith edition. I have it, but it's missing the one disc. The good disc that gives you all the DLC. So either I'm going to spend 30 odd bucks on DLC through Microsoft, or I'm going to find the damn disc and get it. One of these days I'll get it. Syndicate. This is a game that, in fact, I've got a strategy guide as a gift. I didn't even know they made one, because initially there was no strategy guide for this. Eventually they made one. A very good game from Starbreeze Studios. Starbreeze and Raven Software are my favorite developers of all time. These guys are good. In fact, Starbreeze broke up and they went on to be Machine Games, which made them fantastic. New Order, Wolfenstein, and then the new Colossus, which are among my favorite games. Time Shift, highly underrated, really good kind of bullet time, gimmick. A lot of really cool effects. That was kind of the trend for a while, the Max Payne's bullet effects and all that. Time Splitters 1 and 2, very cool. Hawk, one of the Tom Clancy games. Hawk 2 sadly is not in here, but that's okay. I got Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 1 and 2. And I've got Chaos Theory here. The other ones were the enhanced. Why this one's not, I don't know. Splinter Cell Conviction, thank God it's here. Ghost Recon Warfighter, and Future Soldier, highly underrated, very cool game. Tomb Raider Underworld is very good. I got some good DLC for this too. In fact, I recently got the strategy guide for this. I'm so happy to have this in my collection. Trials Evolution HD and Evolution were the very first Trial games. They're still some of the best. My nephew and I would take like 8-9 hours and play all day, play this. He would get farther than I would. He would play the same level over like 40-50 times until he beat it. It gets ridiculously difficult. I mean, I love these games, but they make me rage quit faster than a Lamborghini gets down the quarter mile. I mean, it's just, I get really pissed off playing them. I love them. It's a shame because I love the games, but I reach a point and I get real good, but I can only go so far, and there's a certain 2 moves that I can't perform well enough to make it, so which I'm fucked. A couple more rare replays in The Walking Dead Season 1 and 2. Very happy to have these. And then the 2 XCOM games, Enemy and Unknown and Enemy Within. Very good RTS, little top-down games. So that's it. Those are my games. You can go into here, and you can go into my full library, which are all my digital games. I got 45 of them that I own. Optimized for Series X, Call of the Sea. The enhanced ones, Black, Crackdown, Crimson Skies. Forza Horizon 3, Gears of War 2, 3, Quantum Break, Skate 3, SXX 3, and Chaos Theory are all enhanced. And then Xbox One games, so you got those there, and then Xbox 360 games. These are all the ones that I have basically digitally. Some were free, some I bought, but I'm very happy to have those. So that's it. That's a quick look at my Xbox 360, my Xbox One in all its glory. And next I'll be doing a video. I've got a couple video responses I'm going to get to real quick, but I want to do another video of games that aren't on the backwards compatible list that make owning an Xbox 360 imperative. I mean, that people think, oh, I got my backwards compatible, I got everything I need. Wrong. There's a lot of good games I like far better than many of these I've shown. And I'm going to show you the top 20 games that I think are a reason to own an Xbox 360 in 2022. But that video will be next. If not one of my 2 behind. I'm so behind my own videos. So thank God for being patient. I was so pissed off when that hard drive failed. I didn't even want to do a video. I was just outraged until I got back to where I was, and so here it is. Yeah, I love the series. I got my PS4 Pro in here. I've got my Xbox One X. I got my 4K 3D Sony Blu-ray player, and I've got a brand new Xbox 360 with a 500 gig hard drive here. Then in my other room, I've got my other 55-inch high-end Samsung that's a 3D TV. With that one, I've got the 3D PlayStation 3. And I have the other brand new Xbox 360 in there, and in there I can put my original Xbox and PlayStation 2 because it has component hookups on it. where this flagship newer Samsung doesn't. It has HDMI only, so I have to kind of pick and choose which rooms I'm going to play on based on logistics, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, guys, that's it for that. Let me grab a few things and I'll show you what I've got. I just got a couple gifts in the mail yesterday by surprise. I mean, actually, I knew they were coming, but I had forgotten about them. My friend Steve Tyler he has the Tylord station or channel on YouTube. The one I gave my analog TV to. We've gone back and forth and sent each other a whole bunch of games off and on. You know, Bud, do any of these appeal to you? You know, he sent me one or two. Well, he took a picture of this Doom 64 game, and he goes, "Dude, I tried this and hated it." And he had the extremely rare strategy guide for it too. He goes, "Would you be interested in this?" I said, "Hell yes." I said, "I love the Doom 64. In fact, I've been playing the one on the PlayStation 4, the remastered one, and it's fantastic." This guide is like $176 and for one copy. Now it's in much better condition. This is one of the more tattered, kind of worn guides that I have, but I love that. It's like a patina. Shows that someone actually used it, that it wasn't just in a collection, that someone actually gave a shit, sat on a toilet, ripped it open, you know, folded back the pages to study what was going on. You can see it was used, and I appreciate that. So to me, all the wear and tear and wrinkles and creases just makes it even that much better. So thank you, Steve, very much for these gifts. Oh, these, and then he had a list of like 5 or 6 PlayStation 2 and 3 games, and he said, "Any of these appeal to you?" And he gave me this, and I picked this one, Jackson Daxter. This and a couple other ones I bought for my sister, I bought for my daughter Paula, and we used to watch her play this, and I just enjoyed it. It made my heart feel so good to see her into gaming. She didn't like a lot of the games that I liked, but I got her into a couple of Spyro the Dragon was one, and these Jack and Daxter were the other ones. And for nostalgia, even if I never play it, I wanted to get this, and I might get some of the other ones too. I do have some of the Scooby-Doo games as well that she hadn't liked. So anyway, those 3 things he gave me, I was so happy to have. Thank you, Steve. I sent him my other second copy of Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider Dark Angel, because I had 2 brand new complete copies of that. So another game, or another strategy guide that's really expensive now, and I didn't realize it based on the PlayStation 4. I might have showed this with my other guide collection, I don't know, but it was fairly recent. I just got this. My mother remarried, and the guy that she married is in his 80s, and he games more than I do. I mean, he literally is a gamer. He's the epitome of a gamer. And he's beaten a lot of games on the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 in particular. And one of them, and I watched him, and I went through this guide years ago when he first got this. He had it. I knew he had it, and I couldn't find this. These were very expensive, and I just said, you know, I sent him a text and said, "Do you still have that guide, that Uncharted guide?" He said, "Oh yeah." He said, "Why, do you want it?" I said, "Oh, I would love to have it." I said, "Remember we played the game together all the way through?" And he said, "Do you want the other ones?" I got the other 2 and 3. I said, "Well, those I already paid for those. I have those coming, but thank you. It's very generous of you." He had a lot of other guides like Heavenly Sword and other games. Some of the games I wasn't crazy about, so I just wanted the one guide, and I thanked him vehemently for this. But thank you so much for this, Dad. I guess I should call him Dad now. He's kind of like a father. Ray, his name is, but he's a really nice guy, and the guy's a great game. He's the only guy I know that has beaten Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. He gave me his PlayStation 4 copy and the strategy guide for that, which I got near the end, but I couldn't make it all the way to the end. There's a lot of time things that I just like nutted up and rage quit on. But anyway, thrilled to have this, Drake's Uncharted Fortune, whatever it is. Very cool game and guide. And then I got my friend Vinny, and knew that I'd been wanting this for my Xbox collection. I already have a digital version of it. So he got me this beautiful reproduction, 2006 Coast to Coast, beautiful Xbox box. I thought it was the whole game. I open it up and it's just the case. But you know what? I might buy the disc now. I don't even really need the manual. The manual's probably 30, 50 bucks, God knows what, but I could actually afford the disc. I could get a disc that might be a little scratched up, have it resurfaced, and then hey, I got the whole game. I have it digitally and not one, but no, it's actually, I had it in 2 of my modded Xboxes. Camera Out of Industrial Gamer has one of those that I completely modded with an added 160 gigabyte hard drive, which for original Xbox is huge. That's a lot of games you can put on there. And this was one of them. And then in my other one, the 500 gig modded Xbox, I also have this installed, plus Stubbs the Zombie as well. 2 games that I don't have. So thank you, Vinny. I love having the case. Since I technically do have the game digitally, now I can show this in my, with the rest of them, just as which is nice. And then I picked this up the other day. I saw a trailer for this. Apparently it's been out for like 7 months now, and I didn't know anything about it. It's called Road 96. Now, and I was thrilled to see a physical copy on top of it. I would have bought it digitally. It reminds me of the graphics of Firewatch, which I just said is one of my top 3 favorite PlayStation 4 games of all time. But it's very different, kind of a procedural generated, so the encounters are different. You're trying to get out of the country and get across the border. There's like this totalitarian fascist state that America, or it's like a fictitious America. It's called something else, and everything looks a little different, but basically they're trying to talk about leaving America because of fascism or whatever. You're a teenager and you're gonna try to make it to the border. You're like different teenagers, and if you die or something happens, you come back as another teenager, and now he has completely different encounters. And all these people you can hitchhike with or get rides from. You gotta find food to eat, steal money to steal. Do you do stuff for money to survive? What will it take for you to get to the border? It's a really fascinating game. It's got very good reviews overall. And I had to get this one. So anyway, this is one of the few games, I think maybe the only game I bought new this year. I'm really trying to cut back this year on video games and on spending money. It's been tough. I mean, I spent a fortune on these strategy guides and just a few holy grail, games and items, but I'm getting close now to where I've got pretty much what I want. If I get the rest of them, great. If not, that's okay, But anyway, thanks guys for watching. And I'm so sorry it took so long to get this video out. My head is filled. I got 5, 6 vlogs. I'm dying to do it. I'm going to really try to do them 1 per week. I get really hot under the collar when that hard drive failed, and I had to spend weeks redoing it over. So because of that and just being busy in general, I went ahead and just kind of held off on doing a video until I could come back with something enthusiastic and positive to say. No one wants to hear an old man bitch about video games and modern gaming. There's enough people like that. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy your games and collections.